What happens when the private drama of a hip-hop family explodes into the public eye? When your father is a rap icon, your mother is a reality star, and your siblings are famous for chaos, does anyone even get to have a normal life? Well, buckle up, because 50 Cent just stepped into a storm that nobody saw coming. You heard that right, 50 himself has entered the ring, and this isn't about bars, beef, or album sales. This is about family secrets, private trauma, and allegations so shocking they could shake the very foundation of T.I. and Tiny's empire. Why now? Why in 2026? And how did a personal revelation from T.I.'s own daughter, Deja Harris, turn into a full-blown celebrity battlefield? Social media is on fire, diss tracks are flying, and Instagram stories are being weaponized like never before. King Harris is in the mix, T is defending his legacy, and Tiny... well, Tiny's trying to survive the chaos like the rest of us are just watching popcorn in hand. So what exactly did Deja reveal, and why does 50 Cent think the world needs to see it all? The private, painful, and controversial truth is out, and trust me, you are not ready for the magnitude of what just dropped. It all started with a revelation that nobody in hip-hop wanted to see explode in public. A quiet, personal truth from Deja Harris, T.I.'s daughter, turned into a firestorm so intense that it set the stage for one of the most dramatic celebrity showdowns of the decade. Deja, a young woman whose life had already been complicated by fame, reality TV, and constant scrutiny, finally spoke her truth. She felt controlled, monitored, and treated differently than her brothers when it came to her personal life and her body. What should have been a private matter became a public spectacle when she revealed that her father, T.I., had taken extraordinary steps to protect her, actions that blurred the line between parental concern and outright invasion of privacy. Back in 2019, during an appearance on the Ladies Like Us podcast, T.I. casually disclosed that he personally accompanied Deja to gynecologist appointments, not for routine checkups, not for her health, but to ensure her hymen remained intact. Yes, you heard that right. He described, with alarming nonchalance, how he had signed paperwork to receive medical reports directly, effectively monitoring his adult daughter's virginity. At the time, Deja was 18 years old, legally an adult. Doctors, health organizations, and women's rights groups instantly condemned the practice, calling it medically useless, psychologically harmful, and downright abusive. Yet T.I. framed it as a father's duty, a protective measure, an unbreakable bond of love that the public just didn't understand. The fallout was immediate. Social media erupted. Critics tore into him. Experts issued statements explaining that hymens cannot reliably indicate sexual activity, and that attempting to enforce such control on a grown child can cause long-term emotional trauma. Yet T.I., true to his persona, doubled down initially, claiming ignorance and confusion over the backlash. It took an appearance on Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith to even begin to acknowledge the harm his actions caused, but even then, he positioned it as protection, not control. There's no such thing as overprotective, he said, maintaining his narrative that he was simply defending his daughter from a world that could hurt her. Deja's response, when she finally shared it on camera, was devastatingly clear. She had been embarrassed, shocked, and hurt not just by the invasive medical oversight, but by the fact that it had been broadcast as some kind of bragging right. Her relationship with her father had become strained. She expressed that her brothers enjoyed freedoms she could only dream of, that jokes about sex that were thrown at her brothers, particularly King, would never have been acceptable for her. This was not just about privacy. This was about gender, control, and the unequal treatment she experienced within her own family. And then came King Harris. Always larger than life on social media, always ready to stir the pot, King leapt into the fray in a way that amplified the controversy exponentially. Known for his flamboyant lifestyle, expensive tastes, and a string of public mishaps including altercations at Falcons games, a Waffle House argument that made headlines, and a 2024 arrest, King brought his own flair to the ongoing drama. But in this case, his involvement didn't just escalate family tension, it reintroduced the same double standard his sister had publicly decried. Suddenly, social media was flooded with commentary, clips, and reactions showing King laughing, joking, and commenting on his sister's personal life, replicating the very behavior had condemned. The stage was now set for an explosive confrontation with someone who had a reputation for turning celebrity chaos into headlines. 50 Cent. Enter 50 Cent, the man who thrives on provocation. The rapper and mogul whose every move seems calculated to rile the public saw an opportunity and didn't waste it. On March 5, 2026, 50 took to Instagram with a screenshot teasing a documentary entitled Surviving T.I. and Tiny, a clear nod to his earlier work on Surviving R. Kelly. The implication was immediate. 50 Cent claimed he had access to private footage, potentially involving Deja, and he threatened to expose sexual assault allegations against T.I. and Tiny that had been circulating for years. Allegations that ranged from claims of being drugged to being assaulted at private events tied to the couple. With incidents reportedly dating back to 2005, police investigations had been stymied by statute of limitations issues, and civil suits were dismissed. But 50 Cent made it clear that the court of public opinion was wide open, and he had the microphone. The announcement ignited a media firestorm. Fans, critics, and casual observers alike were transfixed. Diss tracks were dropped, Instagram posts exploded with commentary, and the Harris family suddenly found themselves under a microscope of scrutiny they had never experienced before. T responded in typical fashion, firing off Instagram posts and diss tracks accusing 50 Cent of bullying. But by then, the game had already shifted. The conversation was no longer about rap beef, it was about family secrets, private trauma, and the potential exploitation of a young woman's personal history for entertainment and profit. What made this situation particularly volatile was the way social media acted as both amplifier and accelerant. Clips of Deja speaking out, screenshots of King's reactions, and 50 Cent's provocations circulated like wildfire, each new post generating thousands of comments, theories, and memes. Every fan with an opinion became a part of the story. Every celebrity commentary added another layer of complexity. The drama was no longer contained. It had spilled into every corner of entertainment news, from TMZ to Law and Crime Network-style reporting, turning the Harris family's private disputes into global spectacle, adding fuel to the fire. Insider sources, anonymous but supposedly close to the family, claimed that there was private footage that had never been publicly viewed. While these claims couldn't be confirmed, the very suggestion was enough to send shockwaves through online communities. Imagine the stakes, personal, potentially painful moments of Deja Harris's life being discussed, speculated about, and possibly exploited for public consumption. The implications were immense, raising questions about morality, legality, and the ethics of celebrity reporting, and yet, amidst all this chaos, the Harris family attempted to manage the narrative. T released tracks defending himself and Tiny. King made his social media statements, and Damani Harris independently dropped a diss track that only further inflamed tensions. Even industry heavyweights like Rick Ross entered the fray, trying to navigate the minefield of public outrage while supporting T's side. Each new move was another chapter in an unfolding saga that seemed to escalate by the hour. The entire situation underscored a larger, uncomfortable truth about fame in the digital age. The line between private life and public consumption has been obliterated. A daughter's revelation, intended to voice personal pain and inequality, had morphed into a full-blown media circus. The Harris family's attempts to defend themselves only intensified public interest, while 50 Cent, ever the provocateur, watched from the sidelines, knowing that each reaction only played into his hands. And now, as the world waits, one question hangs over the entire controversy. How far will this go? How much private pain can be transformed into public spectacle before the consequences become unbearable? As T.I., Tiny, King, and 50 Cent continue their public chess game, Deja remains in the eye of the storm, her personal experiences being dissected, speculated upon, and sensationalized. Every move, every post, every track becomes another piece of evidence, another spark, another controversy. The tension is palpable. The story is far from over. And just when you think you've seen the full extent of this celebrity family feud, Another revelation, another provocation, another public meltdown seems ready to explode at any moment. This is more than rap beef. This is a collision of family, fame, trauma, and power, a perfect storm in the age of social media and viral outrage. But the drama is far from complete. Because what happens next, the legal angles, the leaked reports, the anonymous sources coming forward, and the public reactions that are about to spiral out of control takes this story to a whole new level. It's a descent deeper into the chaos that no one involved could have predicted. As the first shockwaves of Deja Harris's revelation rippled through the internet, the story quickly escalated beyond even the wildest expectations of hip-hop gossip. It wasn't just a private family dispute anymore, it had become a full-blown celebrity scandal. The kind of narrative that makes tabloids salivate and investigative outlets like TMZ, Law and Crime Network, and even BBC-style reporters sit up and take notice. And in true viral fashion, it didn't take long for every detail, real or exaggerated, to be dissected, debated, and shared across social media. Anonymous sources claiming to be insiders, naturally unnamed for safety and confidentiality, began leaking alleged behind-the-scenes accounts of the Harris household. One source described lavish security measures that seemed to straddle the line between parental care and obsessive surveillance. There were cameras in every room except for the bedrooms, the source claimed, adding that the family's private jet rides were always monitored. Every conversation recorded, not for security, but to ensure that Deja remained under constant supervision. It wasn't about safety, the insider said. It was about control. Pure, unfiltered control. Whether or not these claims were fully verifiable didn't matter. In today's celebrity climate, suggestion is as powerful as confirmation, and the narrative spread like wildfire. Public reactions were immediate and brutal. Twitter, the ever-relentless court of opinion, exploded. Fans expressed outrage, sympathy, and sheer disbelief in equal measure. One viral tweet read, "Imagine your dad posting your private medical info like it's a highlight reel. Unbelievable." Another commenter sarcastically added, "At least King gets to joke about being a baby daddy, Deja." Nope, she's under 24/7 surveillance. Even memes appeared, pairing images of Deja's shocked expressions with captions about parental overreach, sparking viral engagement that only intensified the story's reach. Meanwhile, 50 Cent didn't hesitate to escalate. Social media posts hinted at previously unseen footage, potentially private, potentially damaging. Speculation ran rampant. Had 50 Cent actually obtained confidential material that could be used in a documentary? What could this footage contain? How much of it was true, and how much was strategic exaggeration? The ambiguity was intentional, and the effect was devastating. Every post, every tease forced fans and media outlets to imagine the worst. The stakes were high, and the tension was palpable. As the narrative intensified, so too did the family's internal drama. King Harris, never one to stay silent, reportedly took matters into his own hands on social media, firing off posts that many described as personal and emotionally charged attacks against 50 Cent. He invoked the late mother of 50 Cent, Sabrina Jackson, in a way that was incendiary, reckless, and deeply personal. Critics decried it as crossing a line, while some fans argued it was strategic provocation. The internet, of course, loved it because controversy is always more viral than peace. Adding to the chaos, Damani Harris, another of T's sons, released a diss track that went viral almost immediately. Structured like a letter and sampling classic hits, the track was pointed, emotional, and deliberately inflammatory. It had the effect of pushing the public discourse even further into the family's private pain. What made it even more explosive was that Damani didn't consult T beforehand. That detail alone suggested fractures within the family unit, or perhaps a generational desire to claim personal narrative control in the midst of public scrutiny. The financial and legal rumors were no less sensational. Leaks, real or fabricated, suggested that 50 Cent's documentary, if completed, could threaten lucrative endorsements, streaming deals, and future tour plans for the Harris family. Even whispers about potential civil suits were enough to fuel tabloid speculation. The simple act of what if sent shockwaves. What if a former insider came forward? What if footage existed? What if Deja herself testified on camera? The questions alone kept audiences engaged, and media outlets raced to cover every possible angle, blending fact, speculation, and sensationalism into a potent cocktail. Of course, social media platforms were alight with commentary. Instagram stories dissected every facial expression, Twitter threads became endless investigative forums, and TikTok videos recreated key moments in exaggerated, meme-worthy fashion. Every clip of T defending his actions, every shot of Deja speaking candidly, every post by King or Damani was a spark to the wildfire. The drama wasn't just unfolding, it was consuming the digital world, drawing attention from every corner, from casual fans to hardcore rap enthusiasts, from investigative news reporters to gossip channels chasing clicks. But the tension didn't stop with social media. Behind closed doors, sources claimed meetings with lawyers and publicists were underway. Some claimed T and Tiny were strategizing how to manage 50 Cent's provocations while keeping the family image intact. Others suggested they were considering civil actions, though the statute of limitations for many allegations made that legally complex. The legal ambiguity only added to the suspense. What could be done? What couldn't? And who ultimately would be held accountable? In the midst of this chaos, Deja's perspective remained the most compelling and heartbreaking. Already struggling with mental health challenges since her early teens, the constant public scrutiny threatened to exacerbate her depression and anxiety. It wasn't just about family drama anymore. It was about a young woman's autonomy, privacy, and emotional well-being being leveraged for public consumption. The ethical questions were staggering. Who had the right to narrate this story? Who was protecting her and who was exploiting her? These were the questions journalists, fans, and social commentators debated endlessly, turning a family dispute into a national conversation about consent, media ethics, and the power dynamics of fame. The drama escalated further when 50 Cent, ever the strategist, hinted at 20 cases tied to T and Tiny in his surviving T.I. and Tiny teaser. Whether these were substantiated or hyperbolic, the mere suggestion sent ripples through Hollywood, rap circles, and newsrooms alike. Analysts and entertainment lawyers weighed in, dissecting potential legal repercussions and media fallout. Every new article, post, or video only added fuel to a fire that had already consumed reason and privacy, and yet, the most dangerous element in this unfolding saga was the anticipation itself. Every reaction, every post, every social media storm was calculated or at least interpreted by audiences as part of a larger chess game. T responded with tracks, Instagram posts, and interviews trying to reclaim narrative control. King and Damani amplified, contradicted, and provoked, creating layers of drama that no single media outlet could fully capture. 50 Cent, watching from the sidelines, needed only to hint, provoke, and wait. The audience, hungry for scandal, responded exactly as predicted. It was a cycle of action, reaction, and counter-reaction that seemed unstoppable. And as part one had already shown, what started as a private family revelation, the very real hurt and frustration Deja expressed, had become the catalyst for one of the most elaborate, high-stakes celebrity scandals of the decade. Everything was interconnected: parental overreach, gender dynamics, social media warfare, alleged legal entanglements, and public spectacle. The drama was not only entertainment, it was a live demonstration of how power, fame, and media collide in ways that few can anticipate, and even fewer can control. And just when you thought the story had reached its peak, there were whispers of more revelations to come, potential leaked documents, undisclosed footage, anonymous testimonials, and social media bombs waiting to go off. Analysts predicted that if even a fraction of these came to light, the scandal could redefine public perception of T.I., Tiny, King, and even Deja herself. Fans and critics alike waited with bated breath. Every new notification a possible headline, every viral clip a potential twist in the ongoing saga. By now, the audience understood one undeniable truth: this was more than rap beef. This was a collision of celebrity, family, trauma, and media power, with Deja Harris caught squarely in the middle. And as the world watched, one question lingered in every discussion thread, every news segment, and every viral video. How far would this go, and who would emerge unscathed, if anyone could at all? And that, my friends, consequences, and the chaos that threatens to spiral out of control in ways nobody predicted. Legal threats, social media explosions, and the ultimate reckoning are waiting. The story doesn't just continue, it detonates. The fallout was unavoidable. Once 50 Cent had hinted at private footage and teased a documentary titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny, the celebrity world shifted into overdrive. It was no longer just about social media reactions or diss tracks. The situation had evolved into a complex web of potential legal, financial, and reputational disaster. Every move, every post, every public statement became a calculated risk for the Harris family. T.I. and Tiny were no strangers to controversy. But this was different. This was personal, public, and potentially explosive in a way that even their seasoned PR teams hadn't anticipated. Sources claimed that the moment 50 Cent dropped the teaser screenshot, legal teams sprang into action. Lawyers for the Harris family reportedly began combing through contracts, past lawsuits, and media coverage to assess whether 50's documentary could be challenged. Civil suits had previously been dismissed, statutes of limitation had ended, and criminal charges were, by law, unfileable in most cases. Yet the mere suggestion that sensitive footage or allegations could be reintroduced created enough tension to throw the family into crisis management mode. "It's a minefield," one alleged insider said. "Every word, every move has consequences, and right now, they're playing defense with the world watching." Meanwhile, the public couldn't get enough. Every clip of Deja speaking, every track released by T, King, or Damani, and every Instagram story posted by 50 Cent became breaking news. The internet was alive with speculation. Would the documentary ever drop? Was there footage that had never been seen? How would the family respond if private moments became public? Outrage, disbelief, and schadenfreude mixed together as fans, journalists, and celebrities alike dissected every angle. The story dominated trending lists, social media algorithms, and gossip headlines for weeks. It was a reminder that in the age of viral content, narrative control is the ultimate currency, and it was slipping through the Harris family's fingers. King Harris, ever the provocateur, continued to escalate matters. His posts, some playful and some incendiary, were scrutinized by millions. He directly mocked 50 Cent in ways that crossed unspoken boundaries of social media decorum, invoking the rapper's late mother in a move that shocked even seasoned observers. Critics called it tasteless, supporters called it fearless, and the rest of the internet watched in fascination. Every new move was a headline, and every headline fueled the fire. Damani Harris's diss track, released without consultation with T, added fuel to the narrative, amplifying the sense that the family's internal dynamics were as messy as the public feud itself. But the human impact of this chaos was perhaps the most shocking element. Deja Harris, whose initial revelation had sparked the entire saga, remained at the center of a storm that she had never asked for. Reports suggested she had been battling depression and anxiety for years, a struggle intensified by fame, public scrutiny, and the ongoing family drama. Friends and sources described her as overwhelmed, frustrated, and exhausted by the constant media attention. Every tease of footage, every online argument, and every new diss track risked re-traumatizing her. This was no longer just celebrity gossip, it was a public spectacle that exploited personal pain for entertainment. 50 Cent, as always, remained strategic. By not releasing the documentary immediately, he maintained leverage, keeping the Harris family, media outlets, and the public guessing. The threat alone, private footage, allegations, and potential explosive revelations was enough to dominate headlines and social media discussions. Analysts speculated about the potential fallout, endorsements lost, streaming deals threatened, and a tarnished legacy for T.I. and Tiny. Whether any of it would materialize remained uncertain. But in the world of celebrity intrigue, Perception often carries as much weight as reality. As if the public spectacle weren't enough. Whispers of additional revelations surfaced. Anonymous sources suggested there could be interviews, texts, and videos that had never seen the light of day. Every rumor amplified the tension, leaving fans and journalists to speculate wildly. Social media algorithms rewarded engagement, so every reaction, every comment, every share fueled the narrative further. It was a self-perpetuating cycle where outrage, speculation, and celebrity reactions created continuous news. T and Tiny attempted to reclaim control through music, interviews, and social media posts. T released diss tracks, calling out 50 Cent for bullying and provocation, while Tiny maintained a quieter presence, trying to navigate the storm without adding fuel to the fire. Yet every public defense was met with scrutiny. Why did they go public? Questioned commentators. Why didn't they handle this privately? Asked others. The more they defended themselves, the more the story gained momentum. It was as if the public had become both judge and jury, dictating the terms of the narrative, while the family scrambled to maintain some semblance of dignity. Financial implications were also a talking point. Industry insiders speculated that if the documentary were produced and widely distributed, it could impact concert revenues, streaming numbers, and brand partnerships. Every media appearance, every social media post, and every viral clip had the potential to affect deals, partnerships, and legacy. The uncertainty was part of what made the saga so compelling. It wasn't just about personal humiliation, it was about real-world consequences for wealth, career, and reputation. And yet, through all of this, one theme persisted: the gendered dynamics that started it all. Dija's initial comments about being treated differently than her brothers had opened a window into a family structure where freedoms were unevenly distributed. King enjoyed joking about being a baby daddy. Dija's personal life was policed. That inequity had sparked a conversation which had evolved into a media spectacle, which in turn had drawn in 50 Cent as the provocateur. The very inequality that Dija highlighted became the narrative engine driving the scandal forward. As the story continued to unfold, it became clear that this was not just a single incident but a cascade of interconnected events: parental control, celebrity privilege, social media amplification, media speculation, and public outrage. Every layer added complexity, every revelation intensified drama, and every reaction created new consequences. It was a perfect storm in the modern celebrity landscape, demonstrating how fame can magnify personal pain into global spectacle. The consequences are undeniable. Allegations, real or speculated, have already shaped public perception. Social media storms, viral diss tracks, and endless memes have cemented the narrative. Legal, financial, and reputational repercussions loom large. And at the center of it all remains Desha Harris, a young woman whose personal experiences have become public currency in a saga that continues to mesmerize, shock, and entertain the world. What started as a daughter speaking her truth has evolved into a drama that bridges family, fame, law, and media manipulation. The Harris family's private lives have collided with public interest, producing a spectacle that feels both inevitable and impossible to ignore. And as 50 Cent, King T, and Tiny navigate the fallout, one thing is clear: in the age of viral media, no personal story remains private for long, and the consequences of exposure are as dramatic as they are unrelenting. This is the ultimate intersection of celebrity, family, and controversy. Every tweet, every diss track, every post, every headline contributes to the narrative. Every reaction has a ripple effect. And the question now is not whether there will be more revelations, but when and who will be caught in the crossfire next. In the world of hip-hop, reality TV, and viral media, control is fleeting, perception is everything, and drama is eternal. And so the saga reaches its conclusion for now. But one thing is certain: the world will continue to watch, comment, speculate, and react, because stories like this don't just fade away. They explode, they evolve, and they define the careers, legacies, and personal lives of those involved. The drama isn't over, it's only entering its next inevitable chapter. So, what do you think? Is 50 Cent going too far, or is this just the natural fallout of decades in the rap game? Could private family moments really be fair game in the world of viral media? Or has the line between personal pain and public entertainment been completely erased? One thing is certain, this story isn't over, and every post, every clip, and every reaction keeps it alive. If you're sitting there shocked, outraged, or just curious about what could happen next, you're not alone. The Harris family saga is a cautionary tale about fame, power, and control, and how one revelation can spiral into a global spectacle overnight. Whether you're Team T, Team 50, or Team Dija, there's no denying the stakes are high and the consequences are real. So don't just scroll past this story. Hit that like button if you're shocked. Leave a comment with your thoughts on who's really in the wrong. And subscribe to stay on top of every twist and turn in this ongoing drama. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next in this explosive saga of family, fame, and controversy. Click, watch, and join the conversation before the next bombshell drops.